Keir Starmer and dishonesty seem inseparable, and after nearly 6 months, it's clear that distinguishing truth from spin whenever he speaks is a challenge. Time and again, he evades questions, offering nothing but vague, non-committal response. Today's exchange with Kemi Badenoch was no exception once again. He was called out for dodging the truth. Let's unpack the heated debate and see how people across the country are reacting. Watch the clip and share your thoughts. Does he ever give a straight answer?
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister needs to misrepresent me to make his point. I don't need to misrepresent him to make my point. Yes. The truth is, he didn't think this through. Cutting winter fuel payments isn't just callous. It may not make savings. It could actually cost us all more. And that's not the only policy which is making things worse. The Chancellor's budget is a body blow to family businesses and also charities. Marie Curie have warned that Labour's budget will cost them nearly £3 million a year. This is a cancer charity saying they have no option but to reduce services. Did the Chancellor tell the Prime Minister that her jobs tax was going to hit charities?
Mr. Speaker, she's asked 3 questions about winter fuel with leaving out, I'll come to that, but she's changed her mind on this. She used to say that the payments were a dead weight. She said there were members of her constituency who didn't need it. They all stood in 2017 on a manifesto, a Tory manifesto, that committed to getting rid of the universal winter payments for pensioners. So we can see what their real commitment is. As for the budget, we're driving up productivity.
I don't want to have to ring your mother. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we're driving up productivity, prosperity and living standards. That's a pay rise for the 3 million who are the lowest paid. They should welcome that. A pay rise for those working in the NHS and better than expected wage growth just before Christmas. What unites all three? Delivered by Labour, opposed by the Tories.
Keir Starmer's response to Kemi Badenoch's pointed critique is a masterclass in deflection and incoherence. Instead of addressing the serious concerns raised, such as the impact of Labour's budget on charities and family businesses, Starmer retreats to a muddled and irrelevant attack on past Tory policies. His attempt to dodge accountability by dredging up old manifestos is not only desperate but highlights his inability to offer meaningful solutions. While Badenoch presents real issues affecting vulnerable communities, Starmer hides behind vague rhetoric about productivity and pay rises, which ring hollow given the economic struggles under his watch. This exchange showcases Starmer's trademark inability to confront reality, further cementing his reputation as a leader more focused on excuses than action.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know what world he's living in. The economy is shrinking, and they did not think this jobs tax through or who it would impact. Another area affected is the hospice sector. Hospices believe the budget will cost them an extra £30 million. Yesterday, Conservatives voted to exempt social care, nurseries, charities and hospices from their jobs tax. Labour voted this down. So can the Prime Minister at least agree to fund hospices so they can continue their invaluable work helping people at the end of their lives?
Mr. Speaker, we put a record amount into the NHS in the budget to deal with the problem that they left, and we'll set out the funding arrangements for hospices in the new year. But it's the same old, same old. They want all the benefits. She said to herself she wants all the benefits from the budget, but she doesn't want to pay for any of them. That's what got us into the problem in the first place.
Keir Starmer's response to Kemi Badenoch's pressing concerns about the devastating impact of Labour's budget on hospices is nothing short of dismissive and tone-deaf. Instead of addressing the critical issue of how hospices, already under strain, will cope with an additional £30 million burden, he defaults to his usual tactic of blaming others and avoiding accountability. His vague promise to set out funding arrangements in the future reeks of political evasion, offering no immediate reassurance to those who rely on these vital services. by dismissing Badenoch's concerns as same old, same old. Starmer reveals his inability to confront the consequences of his policies, prioritizing hollow rhetoric over genuine leadership. It's a stark reminder of his disconnection from the real-world struggles of the British people.
Kemi Badenoch.
Mr. Speaker, I did not hear a commitment there to help hospices, which is a shame. The truth is, this winter, people will be suffering because of his choices. The economy is shrinking, inflation is going up, and jobs are being lost because of his budget. Pensioners won't be able to heat their homes because of his government's decisions. They raise people's hopes but then smash them with broken promises. And now we learn that he is about to give away our hard-won Brexit freedoms. Mr. Speaker.
And they don't care. And they don't care.
All right. Mr. Speaker, now we learn he is about to give away our hard-won Brexit freedoms. The truth is, they are punching the British people in the face, literally in the case of one of his MPs, and he will pretend that this is about the past. But we all know these are his choices, bad choices. If he's looking for a New Year's resolution, why doesn't he start with telling the truth?
I'll do it now. £22 billion black hole left by them. Record numbers on the waiting list. Nearly.
It's not a good time to leave the chamber, is it? Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, £22 billion black hole. Record waiting list with our NHS. They should hang their heads in shame. Immigration completely out of control. Nearly 1 million net migration. She was the cheerleader for all of that. She wants the truth. That's the truth. That's why they're sitting there. Mr. Speaker, whilst they cart from the sidelines, talking the country down, this government is getting on with the job. Record funding for the NHS, money for our trains, buses, and yes, Mr. Speaker, potholes. Pay rises for 3 million of the lowest paid. Wages growing faster than inflation. Planning laws reform. Great British Energy set up. We're only getting started. Next year we'll continue to rebuild, no matter what the blockers opposite say.
Keir Starmer's response to Kemi Badenoch's pointed critique is a masterclass in arrogance, deflection, and empty rhetoric. Instead of addressing the pressing issues raised, hospices struggling to stay afloat, pensioners unable to heat their homes, and the devastating economic consequences of Labour's budget, Starmer resorts to his tired tactic of blaming others. His fixation on a £22 billion black hole from the past is not only irrelevant, but also exposes his inability to take responsibility for his own government's choices. While people across the country face real hardship this winter, Starmer clings to vague boasts about funding and infrastructure, all while ignoring the immediate suffering his policies are causing. Starmer's tone, deft dismissal of Badenoch's concerns, particularly regarding the betrayal of Brexit freedoms and the failure to support vital services like hospices, shows just how disconnected he is from the realities facing ordinary Britons. Rather than addressing these valid points, he shifts the narrative to pat himself on the back for pothole repairs and supposed wage increases that fail to keep pace with inflation. His attempts to frame these meager achievements as signs of progress only underscore his lack of ambition and his government's failure to deliver meaningful change. The most damning aspect of Starmer's response, however, is his blatant evasion of accountability. By framing every criticism as talking the country down, he reveals his inability to engage with constructive debate or address the consequences of his own policies. His smug attitude and refusal to commit to supporting hospices, coupled with his deflection on Brexit freedoms, paint a picture of a leader more focused on preserving his image than serving the public. Starmer's leadership is not only ineffective, but actively harmful, leaving the country in a worse position with every hollow promise and bad decision he makes. If this is the best Labour has to offer, the British people deserve much better. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more updates, and join us on Telegram for exclusive content and discussions. Your support means a lot.